Now I say that because you've got to understand, He didn't tell us that we complement the earth, not the world. We contrast the world. God does not say you're the salt of the world, but the salt of the earth. We contrast the world. God has no desire for us to be complementary toward the world. You do not complement the world system. We live contrary to it. We live in this world, but not like this world. We don't have to have is what I'm saying. We don't have to be. The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life is not the Christian life. We struggle with that times because that's being taught to us. You've got to be successful, you need to have this, you need to have that, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to have this education, you need to have that education. Who said? All you need to be is a child of God, love God, live for God, and let Him tell you what to do. I'm an ambassador for Christ. He's my King. My King provides for me. Let me say, it's a contrasting act. That's why they were persecuted. She said, blessed are they that are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Why? Because the world does not like righteousness. If you live right, you contrast sin. If you went out and you're living right, they'll make fun of you because you don't go to them to the same excess of right as they go to. They make fun of girls nowadays for being innocent. And boys, they certainly have been making fun of for not going out and being whoremongers. Versus our homes, well, you ought. That's how they've been doing it for years now. They just treat. I said, why are you making fun of them for being right? For living for God. They make fun of people for going to church. I said, what are you going to do on Sunday morning? Well, it's my day I can sleep in. I said, so you're just going to prove you're lazy? I said, well, it's my day off. It's the only day I can go to the lake. It's the only way I can go to live my life. I said, you ought to be living your life any old way. It's the only day I can do what I want to. I'm doing what I want to. I can go to church, praise God. You're going to make fun of me. What kind of... That's the way the world is. We contrast it. We don't go out to the bar rooms. We don't hang out in the clubs. We don't go around, in riotous living. I owned a motorcycle. I used to own a Harley. Nothing wrong with a Harley. But you know, I did not have to go grab me a leather jacket that had me a big old thing saying the Banditos or the Canditos or anything else on them. I didn't have to give me anything, say Christian soldiers or anything else, and sit there and look like I'm some type of gangster. I'm not against having a bandana around your head. I'm not against it, but I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to show off. I rode a motorcycle. You know why I rode a motorcycle? I liked it. And it was cheap on gas. I liked it. And if you're going to own a motorcycle, you may as well own a Harley Davidson so that they can hear you coming. Loud pipes save lives. Matter of fact, you can tell any Harley Davidson folks, listen to this message, you'll find out that I'm a Harley Davidson fan, okay? Yeah, man, I'm just trying to tell you. But I don't have to live like what the quote-unquote biker lifestyle just because I own a bike. Just because I own a pickup truck doesn't mean I have to have rebel flags hanging out there and I'm not against the rebel flag. I'm not preaching against that. I'm trying to say I don't have to show off that I'm a redneck just because I am one. I'm a Christian. What people ought to see is Christ in you, the hope of glory. I'm not against people carrying weapons. And if anybody comes into church, I hope that he doesn't. But if we shoot them, they're dead. That's the way it goes. I'm not against it, but I don't have to go out and I don't have to tell everybody, look at my new handgun. Look at me. Why? That's what the world does. They want to show off what they've got. I'm not against open carry. I'm for it. I'm not against concealed carry. I'm for it. But I'm trying to tell you, that's not what defines a Christian. What defines a Christian is Christ. The world says, we got to have this, we got to have that, we got to have this other thing. No, they're all just things. It's Christ. When somebody says, listen, I'd be satisfied with a tent or a cottage, why should I care? They're building a mansion for me over there. Why am I worried about where I live over this side? Why do I worry about whether I drive a Lamborghini or drive a little bug? I mean, I don't drive a DUI scooter. You know why I don't drive a DUI scooter? Because I don't want anybody to think I got a DUI. I like them. They're cheap on gas and you can zip around town. The reason I don't drive one is because I don't want people to think I don't have a driver's license. I mean, that's the only reason. Well, listen, then I don't think about getting one. And then I thought about, you know what people would say? That guy's got a DUI. You know how I know what they'd say? That's what I say when I see some of these guys driving around on them. And other people are just like me. They think, they have a tendency, until they think about this thing, the first thing that pops in their mind is, why is that guy riding that in the middle of the winter? Why ain't he driving a car? I'm trying to get you to understand we're supposed to be a contrast to the world. It's why they're persecuted. It's why they make fun of the vice president for not going places that have alcohol without his wife being there, for not having meetings with women alone. That's why they make fun of them about those things. That's why they make fun of them. That's why if you make a stand for righteousness, they give you a hard time. Do you realize they did not go they didn't go after the Islamic baker, they went after the Christian baker. I've not heard him one time try to sue a sodomite baker for advertising their sodomites. I never heard anybody make fun of somebody for being a heathen. They make fun of them for their clothes on Sundays. Their clothes, that's what they do with that Chick-fil-A. They got good chicken. And people give them a hard time. Well, they're closed on Sundays. They're trying to push those Christian standards, them Christian values. But what about the places advertising alcohol? They're not out there saying, hey, let me just say this. Starbucks had to close down one day because they don't have any standards, and they said we got to train our people to have more compassion. If they'd have been in church on Sundays, they wouldn't have to worry about that. They'd have knew how to treat people with mercy, grace, peacemaking. I say that because we're supposed to be a contrast. Salt is a contrasting agent. Then I see that salt. Let me say, I'll just give you this. Men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil. They like people that are sinners. Sinners like sinners. The more you live for God, the less the world will like you. I can talk to my managers at work. I can talk to them about rock and roll because I know something about it. I can talk to them about country music some. I know a little bit about it. I can talk to them about different things. But you know what happens? If I start talking all kinds about Christ, people start getting uncomfortable. Say, why is it they get uncomfortable? Because of the fact that they, by nature, men say, I'm not that comfortable with that. You can have your religion, just don't put it out in the public domain. The one thing that's in the Constitution is the protection of the right to free exercise of religion. I say that's not one of the things, it's one of the things in the Constitution. They never gave free exercise, the right to free exercise of pornography. But they want to push it. Hey, people ought to have freedom for that. Fine. That's not in the Constitution. Oh, it's under civil rights. It's not civil. It's not civil. How can it be a civil right? I mean, I've got a constitutional right to the free exercise of religion. Why? Because they knew that the one thing that the world would be against is preaching. They'd be against people speaking out against the government would be against that. Preaching and people writing papers and filing papers against the government. That they had to give us a constitutional right so we could do this. Because they knew it would be against Salt's a curing agent. So we find it's a complementary agent, it's a contrasting agent, it's a curing agent. The whole creation groaneth, I said that earlier. Now here's what happens. The whole creation groans because it was defiled and corrupted by sin. When Adam sinned, it did not just affect Adam, it affected all creation. When Adam sinned, that's what happened. And yet salt is a curing agent. Does two things. It slows down the process by cleaning the pollution. And it slows down the process by clotting the wound. You and me are a clotting agent. Am I right, Melissa? We're a clotting agent to this world. We are to be in such a way that we are to slow down what's going on. The world is going to be corrupted. The world is getting worse. It is putrefying. It is getting worse. It is going to keep getting worse. But we slow it down. God put us here as the salt to clean it up. The only time until Christ returns, it'll never be completely cured. You cure a ham, it is never completely cured. You still have to cook it. Why? Because you cure meat, you put salt meat, it does not get completely cured. You still have to cook it. It doesn't take all the worms out of it. It doesn't do all that. It just keeps it from getting ate up as quick, from defiling as quick. You and I, the church of the living God, are a clotting agent and a cleansing agent for this world. It is going corruption. This earth, this sphere is falling apart. Not just society, but all of this whole creation is growing. The cattle are growing. The fields are growing. God told them how to do a field. You plant 6 years, the 7th year let it rest. You know what we do? Our society, let's just pour more fertilizer on there and let's keep growing. We want to make more. God told them how to do it. The Christian is supposed to be this way. A curing agent. Here's what. We're not to be shaken in mind, thinking, or be troubled neither by spirit nor by word, nor by letter, as from us that the day of Christ is at hand. That's what Paul said in 2 Corinthians or 2 Thessalonians. It's our responsibility. We're not supposed to let things happen that the judgment of God's about to happen. We know there's going to be a great falling away first. It's going to be those who are going off into apostasy. You and I are supposed to be living for God, loving God, preaching the gospel, facing persecution, and still living that same way that we were living before the persecution comes. We're not supposed to be wearied in our mind, shaken in our mind, troubled. Our heart's not to be troubled. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. Our focus is to be so focused on Him that we just keep on going. And you know what happens? We keep preaching Christ. One gets saved over here. One gets saved over there. And when that one gets saved, their life changes. And it keeps them from destroying themselves, destroying society, and thus destroying creation. It's a curing agent. We're slowing down the process. Now one day, the Holy Ghost is going to take us out of here. And when we're taken out of here, all of a sudden, hell is going to have a heyday. I mean, as some people would say, all hell will break loose that day. What's going to happen? When Christians who have the Holy Ghost are taken out of the way, then sin will be running rampant. And what happens then? They'll be crying for the rocks to fall on them. People will be saying, what are we going to do now? Our whole society has corrupted. Because what happens if thieves don't have anybody to have law and righteousness, and they say you can do whatever you want to do? Hey, you know what happens? I'm going to tell you. They said, let's make marijuana legal. Next year, it's going to well, why don't we make all drugs legal? Why not? We can tax them all. We make marijuana legal, we can tax marijuana. That's why they made alcohol legal again. They want money. And alcohol has destroyed America. Don't tell me it hasn't. But DWIs make money. They keep body shops in business. You don't want to quit having alcohol sold. Keeps the bars in business, keeps the body shops in business, keeps the government money because of DWIs and tax revenue. And all it does is kill Americans. I mean, that's all it does. Same thing in marijuana. They spend money on marijuana, they get high, they can't work as well. You got to have to make it to where that people can work and not have to, when they're passing a drug test, they don't have to pass a marijuana test. That's what the world does. The only thing that's slowing it down is us. Because we're in the way from them having their way. They don't like it. We're that troubles Israel is what they say. Or troubles America. You're the problem. I'm saying, no, you're disobeying God's commandments is the problem. What is going to happen? So God's going to take us out of the way. He withholds these things. Matter of fact, when He did not let it, it's taken out of the way, then it's all going to fall apart for them. There's no curing agent anymore. There's no contrast, no cure, nothing slowing it down. And then Christ will have to come back because they'll be saying, what are we going to do? That's how it operates. You and I are supposed to be a contrast to the world. We're supposed to be complemented to the earth. And we're supposed to be a curing agent. We don't tell them, we don't go out there with just a message of, hey, y'all are falling apart, you're a mess. We say, we got some way, let me put a little salt on this thing, give you crops. And guess what happens? It'll slow down the process of deterioration. You let Christ have your life. You let Christ control your life. He said, now let me say this, and this is what the problem with most churches is. He said, the salt of gossip savor, wherewith shall it be salted? This were good for nothing, but to be cast out and trodden underfoot of men. This is what happens. Most of us in society, and Christians, are not wanting to be salted anymore. What they want to be is they want to fit in. And so they want to have the church, they won't preach against fornication because they want the fornicators. They won't preach against adultery because they want the adultery. They won't preach against drinking because they want the drinkers. Let me say, I want the fornicators, but I want them to quit fornicating. I want the adulterers, I just want them to quit committing adultery. I want the divorcees, I just don't want them to get divorced. I want people, anybody, I'm not I want the drinkers. I don't want to preach that drinking's good for you. It's like any other drug. If you take it wrongly for the wrong purposes, it is wrong. They took a little wine for their stomach's sake. I read that in the Bible. That's medicine. Not so they can get a drunk, not even so they can get a little buzz, not even so they can relax. He didn't say drink a little alcohol so you can relax. He said drink a little wine for your stomach's sake. Because you're sick, having stomach problems, and it was help to the stomach. They say I need to drink, I just take one drink so I can relax. I said, why don't you relax? What are you stressing about? The only reason you're stressing is because there's suffering in this world and you can't cast your cares on the Lord. Nobody cares for you. But churches won't preach against these things anymore. They won't preach. So what happens? We'll quit being salt. So you know what? We'll either be persecuted for being too salty, or we'll be put out like the trash and trodden under the foot of men. I don't want to be put out like trash and trodden under the foot of men. I'd rather be persecuted for righteousness' sake than be put out like the trash. We're not good for anything if we don't have a contrast to the world, if we're not a complement to the earth, if we're not a curing agent for our society. If we're nothing but another social club, then what good are we? We ought to be trodden out, or cast out and trodden out. I say that because that every Christian has to ask, am I salt? Or am I just going along to get along? Now I told you, you don't throw just salt on everything. Season with salt. Salt is a seasoning. Salt is not going to solve the problem. There must be light. Must be light. Because it's a revealing agent and it's a refreshing agent. Father, I pray that you would help us